Hey everyone, Nathan Reitz-Bruth here, and a little bit of an update. First off, I know I'm like 2 months behind on my .hack reviews, part 2, .hack.roots. Um, it's all filmed, it's all recorded. I just have to get to editing it, which honestly wouldn't take that long. I'm just been really, really lazy about it, and I haven't done it yet. So I will do it. But unfortunately, right now, it's the holidays, and I haven't got to it yet. So, I'm sorry. That being said, let's move on. I normally try not to do like this political commentary thing, like the Young Turks, or Secular Talk, or the Humanist Report. But I have to do this. And it's something that we were going to talk about on the podcast, but I wasn't able to get it going on the podcast because the podcast was canceled today. Merry Christmas, by the way, everyone. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy holidays. If you don't celebrate anything, then have a nice day. Have a nice Monday where all the stores are closed and you won't be able to do anything. So I'm sorry. That being said, let's move on to what the FCC is going to do. And let's talk about the terrible decision that they're going to make. Because they're going to make it. They're going to do it. Just like with net neutrality, public opinion does not matter to the FCC. What they are wanting to do, and this is, I'm going to have a link down below. You can go to Engadget and check it out. In, I believe, February, and I want to say on February 3rd, because I haven't read through this today. On February 3rd, they want to count broadband internet as mobile internet. So what that means is if you have 4G in your area, available from T-Mobile or AT&T or any of the other number of carriers, Verizon, Sprint, or any of the small carriers, they want to label that as broadband internet. There's a problem with this. Mobile internet tends to have throttling caps or hard caps. And if you don't know what that means with a throttling cap is it says, oh, you have unlimited data. But if you go over 15 gigs, I believe with Verizon right now, if you go over 22 gigs, then you're screwed. You're going to get throttled down below dial-up speed sometimes, usually around 256 kilobytes a second or kilobits a second instead of whatever 4G is, whatever you have with 4G. And Verizon, with another thing that we talked about in the podcast before, was there were people who had the unlimited internet, but they weren't within the right range or something, and they were costing Verizon money. So even though they weren't going over that 22 gigs, Verizon canceled their plans because it would be worth less for them to keep them on as customers. It was a ridiculous decision. So that's upsetting. What a hard cap is, I go through a group called Consumer Cellular. I actually worked for them before, and I actually like them. I think they're a good cell phone company. Consumer Cellular has a hard cap of up to 10 gigs of data, which for some people that might be, oh, that's not enough. That is definitely not enough gigs of data. For me, it's fine. My friend and I use, I think, 10 gigs or 5 gigs, and it's fine. But if I go over that, then they actually throttle. I'm sorry. Verizon doesn't advertise it that they have a cap like that. Consumer Cellular does. What a hard cap actually is, because Consumer Cellular has a soft cap. What a hard cap is what they used to have. Whereas if you went over that 10 gigs of data, they would charge you per gig that you used. They would say, okay, well, you went over, we're going to give you $10 or $15 per gig of data. So a lot of money per gig. I think the Google Fi is something similar to that, where in your plans you just pay $10 per gig for every gig that you use. I've heard really good things about them. Also, sorry, my throat is a little sore right now, so if you hear me scratchy, that is the reason why. So, you have a hard cap, you have a soft cap. Also, sorry, I lost train of thought. So also, you have those two caps and with mobile broadband, mobile internet, typically. And what the FCC wants to do is they want to take the mobile internet, and turn it into broadband, so mobile broadband. What that would mean is they can say, okay, there's broadband, we have broadband internet in this area, technically. Now, that might not seem like such a bad thing. Typically, there's a couple internet service providers in your area that you can go through. If you're in a rural, tiny area, small farming village, you may not have access to internet. I mean, maybe satellite internet, which is pretty slow and has a ton of lag. Maybe cable internet, if you're lucky. Usually not. Maybe DSL, but usually satellite is the best you're going to get. Or if you, God forbid, you have to have dial-up still. What they could do is say, oh, we have coverage in that area. We have coverage. You have to go through our mobile branch. And you have to buy it from our mobile division. And that is a pain in the ass, because of those hard caps and soft caps that they have on mobile internet. The other reason, and this one I think is the biggest reason, it's the one I hate the most, is that I'm holding back a cough right now, so I apologize. But what the biggest reason is for this is that there is a rule that internet service providers must, if they are leaving an area, they must have adequate comparable internet already in that area so they can leave. So say you have a internet service provider that provides 50 megs down, 10 megs up, 5 megs up, whatever. When they leave that area, they have to say, we have AT&T here. They have their fiber or their cable internet. It's going to be, it's the same. It's 50 by 5 or 50 by 10. So we're able to leave. So we can leave that area because those people have a good place to go. They're going to be able to go to AT&T. Unfortunately, what they're going to be able to do is if the FCC in February passes this law, they are going to be able to say, oh, AT&T has mobile broadband, so we can leave this area and screw all of our customers over. And that is the big deal. So I know it's not going to make a difference. I know that me making this video, nobody's probably going to watch it. And if somebody does watch it, they're probably going to leave right away because I rambled on for about 5 minutes about mobile broadband and blah, 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 and consumer cellular. But please, do me a favor. If you're in a state that has representatives who are like Greg Walden, who totally supports screwing over the customers, please write your representatives. Do something. Do anything you can to get this not passed, because they are just dismantling the internet, and it's a terrible thing. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.